Hi everyone, my name is Anita Sharma, and I am kind of very excited today to see a very interesting post on LinkedIn, wherein you can find out the kind of emotions which are involved during the FPM or the PhD program when we are pursuing our coursework, and once the one very important milestone is achieved, that is comprehensive exam. So one post caught my attention, and which was I was actually reminded of my own PhD journey. This post is from Pranusha. This is about her PhD comprehensive exam, and very interesting and inspiring to see that how we all sail through different milestones and celebrate that aspect in our life. And let's learn from Pranusha now that how this journey has been for her till her second year, and what is she looking for in third and the fourth year. Let's welcome Pranusha. Hi Pranusha.
Hi Anita, thank you so much for having me here.
Actually, when I was reading your post, first question which came to my mind that what is the meaning of her name, Pranusha? What a beautiful name you have. What does it signify?
Thank you. So my name, to explain it simply, it is Pranav plus Usha. It means
Uh-huh.
the first rays of the sun. So when the sun rises, the initial rays, which are not very hot, which are very warm and soothing,
Uh-huh.
that is the meaning of my name. And actually, my name inspires me to be like that. The
Oh.
first rays, which makes us all feel very pleasant and very nice about nature.
No, it's really a unique name, and I heard it for the first time, and I'm sure the audience is also hearing it for the first time. So you are a lawyer. So what made you to go for the PhD program in management?
Okay, throughout my legal studies, both bachelor's and master's, I was always attracted towards interdisciplinary research. So, throughout my legal studies, both bachelor's and master's, I was always interested or gravitated towards interdisciplinary research and not pure legal research,
Hmm.
because I started feeling that law, like purely legal way of looking at the world, it doesn't have all the answers.
Mhm.
Law has its own limitations to address or to try to answer the social issues.
Hmm.
That is why I also did my master's LLM in Access to Justice, which was an interdisciplinary course. It
Okay.
was not a purely legal LLM as is offered in the NLUs.
Hmm.
It was a socio-legal approach which was followed in this, and I really enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
After that, I taught for a year, during which again I was sure that I want to be in academics, and that is why I was sure that I will have to do PhD one day. And I always knew about IIMs and the wonderful course structure which they have, the rigor involved, and I always
Hmm.
used to dream of getting into IIMs.
Hmm.
So what happened was, this was in 2017. I wrote UGC NET and JRF in law,
Hmm.
because anyway I
Hmm.
had to do it to be an academician. Once I got JRF, I felt I should apply to the IIMs, because anyway it has been my dream. I never, some people target only IIMs and
Hmm.
they want to get into IIMs. That was not my approach. I just wanted to explore, and I applied only to two areas: public policy and education. And I
Hmm.
applied only to IIMA. I didn't
Hmm.
apply to any other
Oh, is
IIM.
it? Okay.
Yeah. And as I said, it was not a very focused approach that I want this. I was just exploring options within interdisciplinary research.
Uh-huh.
And I was pleasantly surprised, when I got selected, then it was a very happy moment for me. So
Uh-huh.
for me, the decision of coming to IMA, it was more about studying public policy rather than studying management.
Hmm.
But now I realize things are very interconnected. For example, public policy is very related both to management and law, because
Hmm.
the governance structure in India, the lawmaking process is like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's the story.
Okay, so 2 years during your coursework, and now you have qualified your comprehensive exam. How
Yeah.
does it feel to you?
It feels amazing. I still remember there were so many moments during my coursework. I used
Yeah.
to dream about this stage.
Uh-huh.
wherein finally I will have cleared the comprehensive exam and I would have started working towards my research. It really feels awesome. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I'm relieved that I could finally reach this stage.
So, this post of yours, which is available on LinkedIn, um, so it has got 7 points.
Yeah.
Let me understand each one of them from your experiences, some events or incidences. So, this point number one is to do what we like. It is sometimes necessary to do what we don't like. What does that mean? Hmm.
So this realization for me started when I wrote UGC NET. Like
Hmm.
even before I started this, I absolutely did not like the UGC NET, the entire structure of that exam. I
Okay.
found the questions to be almost, leaning on rote memory. There was no analysis. It
Huh.
was like if anyone could, crack that exam if we mug up the answers and write.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't believe that teachers could be recruited through an objective MCQ kind of assessment.
Hmm.
So, but then I realized I love teaching and I want to teach. So, if I want to do that, there is no other way for me than to crack that exam.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time I realized that. But and then the positive thing of that was because I could crack JRF, I am in IMA.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I wanted to do PhD. So I had to do what I didn't like, which
Hmm.
was prepare for UGC NET and write. Secondly, within my coursework, since I am from the legal field, I was not very comfortable with subjects which were quants heavy.
Huh.
The most obvious course was the quantitative methods course, and then there were a few courses on economics which were
Uh-huh.
quants heavy. I I could now I can actually see the growth. I mean, initially there
Uh-huh.
was a lot of resistance from my side. I was like, anyway, I'm a lawyer and I want to go back to legal institutes only to teach
Hmm.
interdisciplinary research. So why should
Hmm.
I even study quantitative methods? I don't
Hmm.
need it.
Hmm.
So I had a lot of resistance.
Hmm.
But then I so basically the PhD started outside my comfort zone.
Hmm.
And then when we slowly progressed, I had to study. I slowly started realizing a lot of my questions which I had have been answered in such subjects, economics and
Uh-huh.
quantitative methods, the answers to which I did not find in the legal subjects which I'd studied, which I
Hmm.
realize it now. I mean, after comprehensive exam. So I realized we need to have a lot of patience and just stick to the curriculum.
Uh-huh.
It's not necessary, to act on our impulsive emotions all the time, because we never know. We don't know what we don't know, right? It's like the blind spot
Right. Right.
in our minds.
Uh,
So yeah,
Okay,
that,
so I understood that aspect. Even I have experienced similar moments a lot of times while doing. Even now, I experience that why I'm doing this when it is not needed at all. But then we get to know the implication later in life, and then we realize that
yeah.
okay, it is very very important to understand. Okay, whatever is coming will definitely have an impact later in our lives. Okay, so moving to your second point, which is often answers to the questions we have lie what we don't like to do. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is connected to the first point
Acha.
which I'd written.
हाँ.
For example, I'll take the same example, economics, right? So I used to think the subject economics is not relevant to lawyers at all.
Hmm.
To be a academic lawyer,
Hmm.
it's not relevant because legal subjects are different. I wouldn't be ever teaching economics. But then now I realize that is not true at all. I'll give one very simple example. At the heart of economics, there is this concept of
Hmm.
economicus, right? All of us are rational human beings.
हाँ.
So I realized that at the heart of law also is the exact similar notion of a reasonable person. So
हाँ.
how law works, how people are punished, how punishments are prescribed, everything is linked to this legal fiction of
Hmm.
a reasonable person.
हाँ.
So law assumes what a reasonable person would do or wouldn't do, and then based on that it prescribes punishments. This simple thing of understanding that, and then I happened to read a paper during
Mhm.
coursework which actually pointed out to this, that law and economics are first cousins, because a
Okay.
lot of their Yeah, a lot of their underlying principles are very similar.
Huh.
Then I was fascinated with this, and then I realized it's useless for us. It can happen to anyone. For example, if an engineer, if he or she is being forced to study qualitative research or being forced to write essays, they might face such very similar resistance or feelings like, why do I even need this? I anyway want to do quantitative research. Maybe if we have patience and just follow the coursework, we will surprise ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So
Yeah.
moving to part number three, um, pushing our boundaries takes both guts and humility, and to succeed in life, we need to have both of these. How these two things are related with the coursework?
Yeah, so from as I already mentioned, my PhD started outside my comfort zone. So
Huh.
my zone was purely legal subject, which I was already well aware of, and I had also won a gold medal in my LLM. So
Uh-huh.
this notion that I have already been certified as the best in my
Hmm.
course,
Hmm.
so I can never go wrong, or I know everything. This kind of attitude naturally
Okay.
tends to develop. But then I came to IMA and I realized there is the field of knowledge, it's
Huh.
so vast that I might not even know a drop of the ocean.
Huh.
Maybe I don't know anything at all. This realization, to digest it takes a lot of humility for us to
Huh.
realize that we don't know much. It's
Hmm.
okay, we might have won awards and stuff, but that wasn't something else. The world is
Huh.
bigger than that.
And
So to
accepting this fact is much more important, that the world is so much and it is a big ocean and we are just a drop in that ocean, and we
Yeah.
are still trying to learn. I'm sure that to accept this fact, first of all you need to know that okay, you don't know anything, then only you'll accept this fact that
Yes,
the world is so much to learn from. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually in that moment, like so much to learn and a lot of things to be done. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's move to
uh,
the next part. Do you want to add anything here?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, so this pushing of the boundaries, in the sense, when we are learning something very new, it means we're pushing our boundaries, right? It
Hmm.
takes guts also for us to be open to this kind of exploration of
Hmm.
something very new, and also to be humble to accept that it's okay. We don't have to know everything, we don't have to be the best in everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I feel, to be a learner we need to be humble, otherwise we cannot learn.
Absolutely, absolutely. I second your thoughts here. Yeah. So moving to point number four, which is very exciting, and I see that it's related to failures. So
Yeah.
let me read it out. To truly learn new things, we need to be open to failing and learning from the failures. To my mind, there is nothing called as a failure. There are lessons to be learned in every experience we have. I think it is related to what you have just mentioned, that
Yes.
yes, yeah, any event incident you want to add over here, wherein you realized okay, earlier you felt very bad about the event, and then you realized okay, it's not a failure, and I have learned something out of it.
Yeah, the same courses, economics and quants. I was scoring consistently very low in them. They were the PGP courses which were compulsory for us.
Hmm.
So the first reaction was I started judging myself very harshly.
Okay.
I started telling myself, oh, how can I be so dumb? I don't even understand this. I'm not even able to score well in these.
Hmm.
So a lot of negative, I started putting stress on myself,
Okay.
constantly comparing my present performance with my past. I was good before, what happened to me? Such kind of narrative, which
Okay.
affected me a lot. But then, as time passed by, I simultaneously also realized. So, as I've mentioned, I've taught law students before.
Hmm.
I suddenly realized I was not being completely empathetic to students in my class who were not scoring well
Oh.
as a
Okay.
teacher,
Uh-huh.
because I was never in their place.
Uh,
In all my life till I reached here, I was never in a place wherein I'm struggling to grapple what is being taught. I'm struggling to score. I was always a good performer, so I didn't know how it feels to be in that situation. So suddenly all those memories flashed in my mind, wherein I was a teacher and I could have taken some extra steps to talk to them, or to, at least try to understand
True. Hmm.
uh, what is it that is making it difficult for them to score well.
Uh-huh.
So, and then I was all of a sudden so grateful to God that it's good that I had these experiences, of
Uh-huh.
struggling in the class. Otherwise, now I will be a better teacher in life. I can never, ignore the so-called bad students in the classroom, because I really know how it feels to be
Mhm.
in their shoes. So this is the significant lesson that I've learned during the coursework.
Pranusha, you're reminding me my coursework when I was, in last ranking students
Yeah.
in finance, in operations, such type of
Yes.
courses. And then
Yes.
it was like I was always giving justification to myself that why am I studying all these subjects? They have no relevance
Yeah.
in my PhD. But
Same
then
here. Yeah.
if I look back and I feel that everything has that relevance, because now I'm running my company, I'm going back to those concepts to
Yeah.
understand, okay, finance ka ye part I need to understand, or that part I need to understand, operations ka statistics or bell shaped curve, everything I have to go back and see just to make this company, on that growth trajectory. So I need to understand all those concepts again. So sometimes I think and see that I should have heard my professors better, which could have
Yeah.
helped me now. So, yeah, so, yeah. So
Yeah,
let's
I
move to the
understand.
next point. Okay. So sticking to doing what makes us happy gives us the most personal satisfaction in the long run, despite a few inevident glitches that we might experience. So I think this is a holistic answer to everything. Like in the long run, we see that everything is okay. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so because of all these difficulties that I faced, I also started getting questions like, am I doing the right thing? Is PhD for me? Is academics for me?
Uh-huh.
Such very the thoughts which I'd never thought of
Mm.
before PhD. But then now I realize that difficulties are going to be there everywhere, and just because we are doing something which we like for me, I like academics. Just because I'm doing that doesn't mean I won't be having difficulties. I
Mm.
will have to, keep pushing myself irrespective of the field I choose. That's when I realized I should just stick to what I like reading, writing, and academics. I should just
Mm.
stick to it, and I will get success one day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is that success for you? Would you like to take it later or now? Because you brought this concept of success over here. So what is success for you?
Yeah, so for me, success is, for example, teaching. If I go back to my life, I was very happy when I was teaching.
Hmm.
So for me, success is when I'm happy doing what I do.
Okay.
And of course, to be practical, it should be a stable job. I mean, I should have a stable inflow of income that is there. But personally, I feel I success for me is being happy instead
Oh,
of constantly pressurizing myself, what is called as performance pressure, कि
uh-huh.
और बढ़ना है और आगे बढ़ना है. I'm not saying this mentality is wrong or something,
Uh-huh.
but for me, if you are not happy doing
Uh-huh.
what you are doing, then it will only add to mental stress, and what is the point of that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's go back to your LinkedIn. Okay. The point
Yeah.
number 6, which is we generally know this part, but we fail to implement in our real lives. So it is like I'm reading your statement. It's useless and childish to constantly compare oneself with others. The most effective competition is always with oneself and oneself only.
Yeah. So I went through this a lot during coursework.
Huh.
Because I was not doing good in certain subjects, I totally, ignored the subjects in which I was doing well. I took it
Hmm.
for granted. So
Hmm.
I forgot to compliment myself on that. Instead, I
Okay.
was constantly comparing myself with the top performers of the subjects in which I was not doing well.
Huh.
And then again, that cycle of judging oneself and oh, they are doing this. I'm not being able to do this. What is wrong with me? There's a lot of negative conversation happening in
Hmm.
my head.
Hmm.
So, and then all of this, I realized I have to keep going on. That is when I realized it is useless, because firstly they are not lawyers. I am a
Huh.
lawyer, and they both are life journeys is very different.
Absolutely.
There is no point. We have not started at the same stage. We have not gone through the same educational institutions. And I realized this happens especially in such multidisciplinary environments, a multidisciplinary research where people from all fields come together to
Hmm.
research. So I believe it's very important for us who are involving in multidisciplinary research, and that too when we are learning subjects for the first time in our lives at the
Hmm.
PhD stage.
Hmm.
I think we should be kind to ourselves rather
Hmm.
than constantly trying to compare.
Hmm.
And what do I mean by constantly competing with ourselves is we should, if at all we really want to compare, we should compare our own past with the present with respect to learning.
Okay,
For
so the last part, the seventh statement which you have written is related to your family and their support.
yes, yes,
So, how important it is for all of us during our coursework when we are focused in our career and we sometimes neglect our family members. So, what is your take on that? Can you share with your experience over here?
yeah. I'm married, and my husband, he has a job in Bombay. PhD is a very lonely journey, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's not like masters and bachelors wherein we can study in groups.
Hmm.
So it was extremely challenging for me because I was here most of the times alone. I could meet him only during like weekends, or when he had holidays he would come. So it was extremely difficult to go through this journey alone, and not being able to travel often, even to meet my parents for that
Hmm.
matter.
Hmm.
So I realized that the support which our family gives is very important. If, for
Hmm.
example, if my husband wouldn't have supported, he wouldn't have
Hmm.
understood what a PhD is, maybe
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have been able to succeed. The
Hmm.
same with my parents.
Hmm.
They understood. I mean, whenever I used to feel low, or I used to feel मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा, I used to talk to them, and they used to main thing which I think kept me going was they used to say, you give your best, but even then if it's not happening, it's okay, that's not the end of the world. There are
Hmm.
so many other things you can do. I think this mindset, it is not the end of the world. That
Absolutely.
really gave me the strength to keep going.
Hopeful. So, one last part. How did you celebrate this milestone? The comprehensive exam is over. How did you celebrate during these Corona times?
Yeah, I was so happy. I mean, see, for us FPM students, it's this is not a very big achievement, right? For us, a big achievement will be, say, publication in A Star or A Journal.
Hmm.
That is worthy of celebration. But for me, as I said, I had dreamt of reaching this stage. And I realized, why shouldn't I celebrate it just because abhi chota ho gaya, because I achieved it. So I love noodles. So I ordered a lot of food.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because
Great.
I couldn't go out, and I for 2-3 days I kept eating, and then uh, and then this LinkedIn post also, I realized, why shouldn't I put it? As I
Uh,
said, it may be a very small achievement, but then I really wanted to share my experiences and realizations, so I decided I'll put a LinkedIn status. Yeah.
yeah, so that caught my attention. I think a lot of people are having that attention on that post. Really, it
Yeah.
was really amazing, Pranusha, to have you on Inkpot Hub Media. We'll keep on reaching to you for different other stages. I wish you all the best. I
Thank you
wish
so
you
much.
more and more publications, all A stars, and don't miss me because I also love noodles a lot.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much and have a great life ahead.
Thank you so much to have me here. It was awesome
Press
talking
the
to
bell
you.
icon on the
Likewise.
YouTube app and never miss another update.